Your first year covering the team on a daily basis, what's it like? You enjoying it?
Yeah, this has been a blast. This is something that I've wanted to do for, as long as I've been a reporter, and just seeing the kind of inner machinations of everything every day has really been exciting for me.
Let's talk a little bit about the road trip now. 10-game road trip, and what are your thoughts on what transpired with the Orioles coming back to finish 5-5?
I think they were really fortunate to finish 5-5. When you think about what happened in Oakland, some of those tough offensive performances when nothing really seemed to be clicking for them, and to have come back, especially taking 2 or 3 from San Francisco after losing Darren O'Day, having him come home early, I think this is a really positive trip for them.
And when you look back at the thrill of victory there on Sunday, that had to be not only igniting the Orioles, but ignited the entire town, I would think.
Absolutely, and that game seemed lost for so long. I mean, to have Wade Miley go out as early as he did, the bullpen early struggles, and then for them to kind of chip away, something that the Orioles don't really do that much, is kind of chip away at those leads and chip away, and then to have that big home run from Jonathan Scope. Really, really exciting, I'm guessing.
I've been saying for the last day or so, it was a shot heard from San Francisco Bay to the Chesapeake Bay with the response that Scope got after the game.
Yeah, it seemed like, even today they were still kind of buzzing about it. Manny Machado, when he spoke to reporters, he said, "I'm not talking about Jonathan Scope," which means that Scope did something well, and Scope, you saw himself really excited about it.
How about the pitchers now? They've gotten better recently, very much so since the All-Star break. What's the main reason?
I think there's just a lot more stability than there was earlier in the season. You have Giovanni Gallardo tonight, who's finally healthy and ready to, ease into the rotation the way he wasn't able to really in April. You have Dylan Bundy, who's transitioned really seamlessly into the rotation in a way that I don't think anyone expected he'd be able to, no matter how good he was in the bullpen. Talk about Kevin Gossman, who's steady as they go. Chris Tillman, even steadier, and this is really an impressive group so far.
When you look at the Bundy now in the rotation, it's almost like acquiring a pitcher in a trade it comes down to, don't you think?
Absolutely, and that's something that they thought the pitchers were even looking towards it when Kevin Gossman joined the rotation in 2014. This was something they were really talking about happened back then when the rotation was struggling in 2014. They were really looking for that boost, and I think Gossman gave it to him then, and that's what Bundy's doing right now.
Now, Darren O'Day's placed on a disabled list for a second time this season. First, he had a hamstring problem. Now he's got a shoulder problem. How much of a loss or how much of an impact can this be to the Orioles now down the stretch if Darren O'Day can't come back real soon?
I think it's going to have a big impact. You don't want to talk about anyone being fortunate when it comes to injuries, but they had to do this once before. They had to deal with not having Darren O'Day when you talk about Brad Brock and Michael Givens stepping up when O'Day had the hamstring injury. So the positive side is this is something they've done before, and I think it'll be a little easier to stomach this time, but definitely a big blow.
What's deeper for the Orioles right now, their bullpen or the starters?
You have to say the starters. I mean, you talk about when you take Bundy out of the bullpen, put him in the rotation, and just some of the long relief they need down there in the bullpen. I think that kind of weakens their situational pitching later in the game. So I would say the rotation right now.
Well, John, we appreciate your comments. Look forward to reading you in the Sun papers and also at BaltimoreSun.com. Jon Meoli, he covers the Orioles on a daily basis.